Hello my friends, I'm making some French onion soup today. Found this delicious recipe on the internet. Thought I'd share it with you. I've made it at least 2 or 3 times now. So what I did, I started out with you start out with 5 or 6 large yellow onions, cut them in half, and what I do, I put them in the food processor. Slice them up, and makes the job a lot easier. And what it does, it fills up this 5-quart Dutch oven all the way to the top. You cook it down at 400 degrees in the oven on the lower mid rack. And this is the first time it came out after 1 hour. What you do, you stir it, scrape the sides if there's any browning, like here. And you stir it up, put it back in the oven for another hour. And this soup takes a good 3 hours to make, but most of it is waiting time. Now the ingredients are pretty simple. This first step, like I say, you cut up 5 large onions, put it in the Dutch oven, but underneath this you put 3 tablespoons of butter, and it's best to use an unsalted organic butter. That's what I prefer. And you get all this nice moisture after 1 hour of cooking. But what you want to do is get this nice and caramelized, so we're going to be putting it back in the oven. And then after we do that, I'll give you the rest of the ingredients you'll need. Here we are. Just took the soup back out of the oven. Onions have cooked down now so far a good 2 hours. And the second time you put it in, you crack the lid so you get some evaporation going. There we go. This is after 2 hours. Stir it up. Anything sticking to the side. Still got ways to go before we take it out of the oven. Starting to caramelize a little bit, not much, but here we go. I just took it out after an hour of the second cooking to stir it, and I'm going to be putting it back in for at least another 45 minutes before I transfer it to the stove. Okay, now after almost 2 hours in the oven, we started out with a full 5-quart pan, Dutch oven, full of raw yellow onions. Cooked them down for an hour, took them out, stirred them. They were covered when they were put in at first. Then the second time I put the onions in the oven, I left the cover cracked for evaporation purposes. Cooked an hour, took it out, stirred, put it back in another 45 minutes. And now I just brought it out of the oven and put it over medium heat on the stove. Continuing the evaporation process of the onions, what I want to do now is caramelize the onions, so I want to get all that evaporation going and get out some half a cup of dry sherry, which we'll be using. So we will continue this. In the next video I'll show it where we made some progress and it's nice and caramelized. Okay, we're back. Now it took me about 20 minutes to reduce down these onions where the original fluids from the onions has evaporated. Now we're starting to caramelize them. Once you get a little bit of a crust on the bottom of the pan, what you do, and this takes about 2 or 3 times, you add a 1/4 cup of water. This helps loosen any of the dark caramel in the bottom and sides of the pan. Stir it up good. Now you let this boil off, and then you continue doing this 2 or 3 times. And then your last step is to add the sherry. Cook it off. Then you'll add your beef broth. I buy 2 of these. They're 1 quart containers. You'll use about 1.5 quarts. And then the rest is water and seasonings. And we'll get to that part next. Okay, we have everything, the sherry evaporated, and I added the 6 cups of broth, beef broth, and the water. Now the last step, I'm bringing it to a boil. I'm going to add the thyme, fresh thyme, and it says to use kitchen string. If you don't have any kitchen string, I just use string off a tea bag if you happen to have that. Tie about 6 sprigs of thyme together, drop it in the pot, and also add a bay leaf. This is a good time to add any extra salt if you want. Black pepper. I wait on the black pepper till it starts to simmer because you definitely don't want to burn the black pepper. And that's it for now, and next video will be when we get it ready for the oven. Okay, so the soup simmered for 30 minutes after I put all the ingredients together. After it was done cooking, I let it set for, I like to let it set at least an hour. Probably set longer than that. Then now I'm getting ready to put it in the toaster oven. I already prepared some toast, and I'll just put it on the ladled out soup in these special baking cups. I like to use 3. That way it keeps the cheese up off the fluid, so when it bubbles, the soup doesn't come up over the top. Made some thin slices of Gruyere Swiss cheese, which is very excellent cheese. Costs a little more than regular Swiss, but it's well worth it because this is a good soup. And you could either grate it or slice it thin like I did. Now it's ready for the oven. Put some black pepper on there, put it in the toaster oven, and then we'll see what it looks like when it comes out. Okay, there you have it. Just brought them out from underneath the broiler, and it's ready to serve. Next video will be hopefully somebody enjoying this soup that I made. Spent half a day making it, you know, off and on. It's really not that difficult. Most of the time spent is the cooking time in between steps. However, bon appetit. Well, how's the soup, dear?
The best you made yet.
Is that right?
Yep. I love it.
Very good. Well, that's a wrap.
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear.